Well, we're here at CrossFit for the Chamber Corner Show. Bill, are you having trouble?
Boy, this CrossFit stuff, it's really something. Could you help me here?
Well, yeah. Here, you take this, and I'll take this.
Wow. Anyway, CrossFit, I'm telling you, we're here to show you what you can do in January when it's cold outside. It was 7 degrees this morning in Lancaster, and I'll tell you what, it was cold enough that I didn't want to do no jogging. I didn't want to get out in the woods. I didn't want to hike no trails.
But it's warm in here.
It's nice and warm in here, even though you got a coat on.
That's why I'm warm.
Oh, okay.
Put my coat on.
Well, anyway, we want to tell you about our show that's coming up. We've got several people that are coming to be with us. We did an outtake yesterday, and we went to the court system, and we talked with Judge Collins and Brian Bratcher about a program that they have that they're starting in the county called Bridging the Gap. And so you'll be able to see that during the program. And then we've got several other people that come. Help me remember who came, who's going to come to the program?
Well, we've got Brenda Curtis. She's going to talk about what's going on at historic Granville. We've got Wendy Drum, who is the president of the Family and Community Education Clubs. Chris Hicks, my co-worker with agriculture, is going to be talking about Farmland Legacy and some other programs. So we got a bunch more.
Okay, well, so we got a bunch of things happening, and it's going to be a good show. So you stay tuned for that, and we're going to get with Chris, or rather Brian Ferguson here, and he's going to see if he can help me out here a little bit.
Brian, come help! Come help!
Yeah, I think I need CrossFit. Oh, yeah. All right, we're here at the Smith County Court facility with Judge Michael Collins, and Judge, we appreciate you letting us interview you. What we're here about, you've kind of started an initiative with some of the local pastors, and I know we're going to be talking to the gentleman that's heading it up, but I'd like you to kind of tell the folks out there a little bit about what your thought was and the process. I'm just going to hand you the microphone and let you talk.
All right, thank you. Well, yeah, I appreciate you letting me air what we've been doing. As I ran for judge, I actually talked with lots of people. I talked with district attorneys, public defenders, the sheriff. I talked to local attorneys, probation clerks, and as I was doing that, I also used the experience I had as a criminal defense attorney, all by the way of trying to figure out ways to make our system better, to improve, to help people, to make our county safer. And one day I was sitting in court, and you know, I was thinking about one of the biggest problems is the drug problem, and really that causes so many other crimes and heartache and family distress and you know, problems with children in DCS and broken homes, and it dawned on me, you know, I can really do very little as a judge about that problem. And I'm a Christian. I go to church. I go to First Baptist Church, and I'm a deacon at the church. And the Lord just kind of spoke to me and said, "You can't do anything about it." I mean, He just put that on my heart, and it was kind of a revelation that after I'd talked to so many of my clients. And so many people as I campaigned that had overcome a drug problem, many of them had told me that part of what helped them recover was them being led to the Lord. So in the course of that, I thought, well, how do I incorporate that as a judge? My thought was to just get pastors involved, to get the churches involved. And I asked around, you know, as I was campaigning. And after I won the election, I started calling on pastors to see if they'd be involved. And I think we had a total of 50 pastors or so. I'm not exactly sure the number. But 50 pastors that responded and said, "We're not sure what we're going to do, but we want to help." And that was my initial thought, is we're just going to put people together that won't help with pastors who are willing to give help, and just let them work together and see really what the Lord does in that. My biggest thought again is, until the heart changes, a person's not going to change, and they're going to have a terrible time overcoming a drug problem. But also too, a lot of people want to get better, but they go back to the same people that they were hanging out with, and they just keep getting drugged down over and over again. So hopefully this pastor group will give them some words of wisdom from the Scripture, but it'll also give them a loving group to support them and integrate them back into the community, as opposed to just you know, the same people are getting them in trouble over and over again.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Now, in your capacity as a judge, of course, you can't compel anybody to really do anything like this. So it's purely a voluntary thing from the bench.
Absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate you pointing that out. I can't make anybody, nor would I attempt to, but anybody who wants help, I just tell them that it's available. You know, there are pastors that usually come to the court facility, and they're here on their own time. They just want to counsel with people and see what the underlying problem is, see if they can help with it. So all I can do is just tell them it's available. I can't compel them or anything like that, but hopefully people will want to seek out help from the people who are willing to give it.
Well, I think that's a wonderful idea because you're putting people that really want to get out of the cycle, so to speak, with people that want to pull them out of it. So I think that's a wonderful thing that you're doing. Judge, appreciate you talking with us and appreciate you getting this started.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we're still here at the Smith County Court facility, and we're sitting in the gallery. Before we interviewed Judge Collins, and you saw what it looked like if you're standing in front of the bench. Here we're in the gallery, and we're here with Pastor Brian Bratcher. Pastor, we sure appreciate you coming and being with us.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to do so.
Well, the reason I wanted people to kind of get a feeling of what it's like, basically the pastors group, you folks, many of you just come and you just sit here and you make yourself available. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I think one of the best abilities is availability, and just to see that somebody cares makes a big difference in people's lives.
Yeah, and that's what you're obviously trying to do. Of course, the church is charged with that, we know, and they're trying to make a difference, but I think this is a little bit unusual in that nothing like this has ever been done before here in the area that I know of. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, it's a great opportunity. You know, I've been thinking on this for a while, and you know, God has to really have His hand on things, and He uses us, and I'm so glad that He uses us to do His bidding. God is so powerful; He could make us do whatever He wants, but He chooses to use us, and I just think it's a great opportunity for the county, and I don't doubt that if this is successful and people see things change, that other counties may do this as well.
Well, I think that's true. And the one thing that I've asked the judge, and of course he can't compel somebody to do this, so actually you're putting people that want this together with people that want to help them, and I think that's a good combination. How did this I know you had a meeting, and how many's involved? Just to give me a few statistics about what's going on with this and churches that are involved, how many, and all that.
Well, right now we have, like I said, Judge Collins, we ended up with about 50 pastors or so. And right now we have approximately the same number, but including in that is not just the pastors. Now, you have to understand that the pastors can do so much, but there's a whole congregation of people there that's available. Within this group that we don't have only pastors. We have men and women that care and that see a need. And as pastors, that just fills my heart to know that that Christians as a whole, we all have a job to do. No matter what your title, we have a job to do. And right now, we have approximately the same amount of people involved. I send out an email once a week or so, giving updates on different things that are going on and different meetings that are happening. And it's just, I think it's going to explode further. The more you see results, the more people will come in. But we had to start with that core group. And I think once this core group gets established and there's results that are happening and are happening already, I believe that it's going to expound to other churches that may not be involved right now, may be involved at a later date.
Well, I think that's wonderful, and the one thing about it is this is not a static group. In other words, if someone else or some other church didn't know about this or had come and maybe thought about it, they can still get involved and be involved in this. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. We challenge anybody that has a heart for this to get involved, to do something. And we'll take you in and we'll love you and we'll put you to work. And that's what our goal is to love people.
Well, and that's good, and it covers all, my dad used this term, all flavors of denominations and churches and everything, they can get involved and help in this situation. So I think that's wonderful.
Oh, absolutely. You know, the one thing that I push or I remind people is it's not denomination. We don't push denomination. We don't push church. We push Christ, and that's what we do. Because denomination is something that we brought up. It's not what Christ brought up. So we push Christ and His Word only.
Okay, now when you're working with these folks, it doesn't matter if it's a man, woman, juvenile, anybody that wants to come, they can come and sit down. Now, how do you meet with these folks? What do you do? Well,
we have currently we've scheduled 2 meetings a month, one on a Friday and one a couple of weeks later on a Saturday. And that accommodates people's work schedules and things like that. And so it's very informal. We come in, we eat, because when you eat, you tend to talk more, you tend to be more relaxed. And it's not a meeting type atmosphere. It's more of a socializing atmosphere. And I believe that God draws people together. And when you get there, you may see somebody within the court systems that you have a connection with, and you just talk to them and get their information, and you just that starts the beginning. That's the beginning of the relationship, and then that relationship will continue further on outside of that meeting. And that's the ultimate goal, that's just a meet and greet. That's just the beginning of something that's going to be great.
Right, and then you don't broadcast any names or situations. It's strictly on a confidential basis and on people that want to be involved. Unless they want to be on a camera or get interviewed, they're not ever put before that, right?
Absolutely, it's totally confidential. We don't supply names, we don't supply addresses or phone numbers. It's between one person and the other, and it's strictly confidential. And I think that's important for people to understand and to know, is that it's not going to be broadcast. Anytime that I meet with someone as a pastor, it's confidential, and I tell them that up front and personal. I say whatever we say is confidential, because if the person that you're dealing with don't have that confidentiality or that trust, they won't open up to you, and that's definitely something that we need to push. It is confidential, and thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, the other thing I think, I want to go back to this or ask you. You have a lot of different people in each congregation, and so you might have someone that's needing something, or you have a lot of ways to help somebody because of the connections with all these different churches and with the people that are in the church. And I guess I pretty well answered your question there, but would you just reiterate that?
Sure, absolutely. In the Word of God, it says that we are the body of Christ. We are different parts of Christ. And I've heard it said, you can be the little toe or the big toe or the thumb in that analogy. But within a congregation, you have people from different backgrounds with different skills, from different areas that are able to help people. For example, as a pastor, I can help you in certain ways, but there are men and women within the congregations of our churches that can help in many other ways, whether it be finding a skill set or a job, or maybe have a hobby or a connection that's the same as others. And we really rely upon our congregation for that.
Okay, one other thing. This is going to air in January. You have a meeting in January. When is that meeting, the date?
That's going to be January the 24th at 12 o'clock.
And where?
And I believe that's going to be at the Chamber of Commerce. It's going to be from 12 to 2. And so we're going to meet there, and I don't know what we'll eat, but whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be good. And we're going to meet there and just get to know some people and hopefully change somebody's life.
Okay, and then, of course, you'll have some more meetings in February. Then you may not know the dates of the February meetings. Is that possibly? Did you know them?
We haven't set the February dates. Right now we have set, from what I remember, we've set 2 months worth of dates. We may have set some Februarys, but they're kind of tentative right now. But we will we will, within our group, we will post those dates and those times and where they're going to be held.
So basically, just to go back over this is an initiative by a group of churches that have voluntarily come together, and they have elected you basically to kind of be the spokesperson and head it up, and you are coming to the court system and making yourselves available to help anybody that would like to break out of the drug cycle or break out of the, and what's the name of the group? What do you call it?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because we've just began and we've gotten our new name. And I think it's significant. I had a suggestion, people didn't like it, but we finally come to a conclusion as to what it needs to be, and it's bridging the gap. And it makes, and as I think about that, I thought that bridging the gap would signify the gap between where someone is and to where they need to be. And that's part of our purpose, is to bring them from where they are to where they need to be.
Well, that's a very good analogy, because you're right. There is a big gap in there, and if someone can stand in that and help someone make that connection to where they need to be, that's a wonderful thing. Well, Pastor, thank you very much. We're here with Pastor Brian Bratcher, and he just told you about Bridging the Gap, the new initiative to try and help folks get out of the drug culture, I guess you would call it, and get on the road to having a better life. Well, I'd like to say thanks to Judge Michael Collins and to Pastor Brian Bratcher for letting us talk with him here. We're still in the court facility. I just wanted to give you some contact information and a little bit of information about the program that's going on. If you want to attend the program, if you want to be involved in this dinner, you would need to RSVP or let them know that you're coming. And if you wanted to do that, you could call one of these numbers, and I'm going to give you three of them. Miss Jenna Brooks is the misdemeanor probation officer. Number is 588-1550. And then Pat Warren is the youth services officer. Number is 735-2842. And then, of course, if you'd like to get in touch with Pastor Brian Bratcher, he's at 585-3104. And he also gave me an email address, which is bratcherba@gmail.com. And if you want to attend one of these meetings, or you know someone that you think should, then you can get in touch with those folks and let them know, and I'm sure they'd be happy to have them involved. And if you'd also like to volunteer, call Brother Bratcher and let him know, and I'm sure they would be happy to have the help. And if you're attending a church and maybe your pastor didn't know about this, have him to give Brother Bratcher a call, and I'm sure they can get involved. So we thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
Okay, we have with us today a special guest with us, and you've probably seen him on this show before. This is Chris Hicks. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Chris is our ag agent with the University of Tennessee right here in Smith County. He is available at any time to talk to any of you, whether you're a farm family or not, right, Chris?
That's correct.
All right. Now, we have something exciting coming up. And, Chris, I want you to tell the folks a little bit about the Farmland Legacy program.
So, thank you. We've got the Farmland Legacy, which is estate planning for anybody, whether you have farmland or any kind of property. All of us have assets that we're eventually going to have to leave to somebody else. None of us are going to live forever. And this workshop, it's a 2-night workshop. It's February 3rd and 5th. At the Chamber of Commerce. It'll begin at 6 o'clock, but it's designed to not only help folks know what they have and figure out what they have, but how to go about the process of deciding how they're going to pass that on to their heirs. And we've all known of families that have been torn apart and maybe never been the same because somebody didn't get what they thought they were supposed to, or somebody thought that somebody else got something that they wanted. And if we can have those conversations and those discussions and plan that out beforehand, and everybody's on the same page, everybody knows what's going to happen when the events that we know are going to happen transpire, we can be a lot better prepared for it and hopefully avoid letting stuff get in the way of families staying together.
You know, I think you're so right. Numerous families have been torn apart because the family members argued about what they were supposed to get, and what's really scary is when you have someone like a mother or dad say, well, when I'm gone, y'all just take care of it. I don't care who gets what. You know, that's one of the worst things they can say. But this is a great workshop. We have it about every 2 years here in Smith County. And this one will be held February 3rd and 5th. At the Chamber of Commerce. Now, you do have to come to both classes, right, Chris? And registration will be at 5:30, and the program will start at 6 until approximately 8 p.m. each night. And now, how much is it per person?
So it's $25 a person, $30 for a couple, and we do encourage couples to attend. And even if you have kids that are grown and you want to bring them, I think that's perfectly fine and would be a good opportunity to start those discussions. And we're going to have all kinds of experts. We're going to have lawyers, tax professionals, retirement professionals, people that do this every day to teach you, to sort of tell you what you need to know and what documents you need to have ready. They're not going to be selling stuff. They're not going to be trying to push anything on you, which is a big deal for me. When I go to something like this, I don't want somebody trying to sell me something, but they are going to just be there to answer your questions and sort of get you started. That $25 or $30 for a couple is going to cover your manual. It's going to cover, you know, some light refreshments and things, but all the documents that you're going to need to sort of get you started in this process.
Now, we have a special guest this year. In fact, if you have been to this before, I encourage you to come again this year. We are going to have a special guest. Chris, tell us a little bit about Gary and what he's going to be talking about.
Sure. Gary Moore is going to be there. Gary is with the Tennessee Land Trust, and we get questions a lot about if I want my land to stay in agriculture, if I want my land to not be developed and not be a subdivision, how can I go about that? And the land trust is one way that you can do that. It's not the only way, but it's certainly one way that you can make sure that the land stays the way it is now for future generations. And Gary's going to be on hand at one of the sessions to talk about that.
So if you would be interested in coming, you can call the Extension office at 735-2900. We'll be glad to answer questions for you. You can ask for Chris or myself, as I will be there too. The deadline to register for this so that we can get enough manuals for everyone is January the 26th. So please give us a call. Again, that's $25 per person, $30 per couple. You will go home with a full manual as well as a little booklet. I think it's called What My Family Needs to Know. And, you know, I was just talking to a group about this today, Chris, about the importance of letting people know where certain documents are, like insurance policies and that type of thing. So, again, February 3rd and the 5th, you need to come to both nights. Registration at 5:30, and the program will begin at 6 o'clock, and we finish about 8 o'clock in the evening. So please be sure and come to the Farmland Legacy Workshop. You need to call the Extension office by Monday, January 26th, and space is limited. So, and by the way, you don't have to be a farmer to attend, right, Chris?
That's exactly right. We'd love to have anybody attend. We've all got an estate, and don't have to be a farmer to have this applicable to you. So we'd love to have anybody attend. Just make sure you call us an RSVP so we know how many to plan for.
That's exactly right. Now, while I've got Chris here, I also want to talk about something that's coming up with the fruit and vegetable growers. I'm going to hand the mic over to you.
Okay. Yeah, we've got the Fruit and Vegetable Growers Association in Smith County. If you're not familiar with that, it's tied in with the farmers market. Anybody who sells at the farmers market must be a member of our local association, the Smith County Fruit and Vegetable Growers Association. And we're going to have our annual meeting on February the 9th at the Chamber of Commerce at 6 o'clock. And we'd love to have not only all our vendors, but anybody who's interested in maybe being a vendor. If you've driven by the farmers market and thought, you know, I'd like to sell some of my stuff. I've got extra garden stuff that I'd like to sell. This is the time to come by, learn about the association, learn about what's involved, and get involved in that association. So that's February the 9th at 6 p.m. at the Chamber of Commerce. We'd love to have you attend.
Now, do they need to register in advance for that?
No, just show up that night.
Okay, folks, there you have it. Thanks, and we'll be right back with more.
Okay, we're here at CrossFit in Carthage, and Kim Cedar's come by, and I think you've got some things that you want to talk to us about. Kim, first of all, tell them who you're with and what you are doing.
Sure. My name is Kim Cedar, and I'm with the Smith County Drug Prevention Coalition. And the coalition is made up of different sectors of the community who have all come together to work on a different plan, work out different plans for helping the community overcome the drug addiction issues that we have here in Smith County.
Okay. How long have you been working with them? I think you're a recent addition, although you've been in Emmanuel House for a while, but...
Yes, that's true. I actually have moved into the board chairman position at the Emmanuel House, but I've been working at the Drug Prevention Coalition now since the end of October. So.
Oh, okay. Well, now, you were going to talk about some training that you have available?
Yes. As a matter of fact, on February 20th, we have the Epidemic is Here training in DeKalb County, and that is going to be for physicians. And the goal of that training is to train healthcare professionals to help combat prescription drug abuse and discuss ways that the medical community can work together to reduce prescription drug abuse and treat addiction. So that's going to be a really great training. And there are going to be CME credits offered for that. So that's a wonderful thing for the physicians out there.
And who can come to this?
Anybody in the medical community.
Okay, anybody in medical, and when is it again?
It's going to be on February 20th in DeKalb County at the community center there. So if you need more information, you're welcome to contact the coalition. Our number is 615-588 1622.
Okay, and I know you guys are involved in some legislation that's going on. You maybe want to talk about that?
Yes. There's legislation out there called the Intractable Pain Treatment Act, and that legislation was enacted in 2001. And the initial goal of that legislation was to give physicians the freedom to be able to treat chronic pain. But the unintended consequences of that legislation is that patients can come in and request prescription pain medications for first-line treatment of pain. And since that act was in place in 2001, the numbers of prescription drug abuse in Tennessee have just skyrocketed. So just some statistics on that. The number of treatment admissions resulting from abuse of prescription pain meds went from 5.5% to 28% in the 10 years that this act has been in place. And so we're looking to have that act repealed and give physicians a little bit more of an opportunity to be able to use their expertise when treating chronic pain. And so we hope that that will help address some of the prescription drug abuse problem.
So in other words, if you're in pain, you can still get medication because your doctor will have the ability to do that.
Absolutely.
It just keeps them from having their hands tied. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes. Right now, the way the legislation stands is the doctor either has to give you that pain medication or they have to refer you to a person who will give you that pain medication. And of course, that has inadvertently led to a huge number of addiction issues with prescription medications. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, all of us are not real good at making decisions sometimes, so I guess this is something that's been a problem for a while now.
That's correct. And another side effect that is a serious concern is the number of neonatal abstinence syndrome babies, the babies who are born drug addicted because their parents have a problem with prescription drug abuse. And that's a huge problem, particularly in our area. Our region is third in the state for the highest number of NAS babies. So.
Well, if a lady is with child, you shouldn't be taking anything that's harmful to the child.
Well, that's true. We do have folks who have real pain issues, and we recognize that, and we want those, of course, to be treated accordingly. And certainly this legislation does not include end-of-life care for people who are on hospice or anything like that. But if you are pregnant and you are on prescription medication, it's very important that you talk to your doctor about that and that you do the safest thing. So.
Okay. Another initiative, I know this has been some time now, but there's drop boxes in the county, right?
That's true. We have two drop box locations, one at the sheriff's office and the other at the Carthage police office. And there's a new campaign that we're working on called Count It, Lock It, Drop It. And it came from Jackson County, but it was such a great program that it kind of took off all over the state. So we wanted to make everybody aware of that. Count It, Lock It, Drop It is really just what it sounds with regard to prescription medication. We wanted to encourage everybody to count their medication every 2 weeks, and that's to make sure that that you have the correct number of pills that you're supposed to have, and that there's certainly that those aren't being taken from you. Lock it means lock up your medication in a lock box somewhere in your house that's not easy to find, and then drop it means whatever medication that you have left, you're going to want to take that to one of our drop box locations. Or we do have some medicine disposal kits at the coalition, and if you're interested in that, you can certainly contact us for those.
Yeah, I've been told that it's actually illegal for you to take a prescription that's kind of out of date. Like if you've got something that's in your house and it's 2 years old and you've long since needed to quit using that, you need to drop that in this box. Is that correct?
That's true. And having old medication left at your house is a very dangerous thing. And one of the things that we've discovered in 2014, some of the statistics came out that the way that children under the age of 18 use prescription drugs illicitly is that they get that from family and friends who have drugs left over in the cabinet. So even though you may think that you can trust your children or your grandchildren or even your friends that are coming over, safety first, lock up your medication just to be sure, and then we know that it's not happening.
Well, and recently someone in my family actually had a break-in in their house, and that was one of the things that they went through is the medicine cabinet.
Absolutely. That's another safety issue right there, too. If you are known to leave medication unprotected in your medicine cabinet, it's very easy for somebody to target you, so it's just a way of being safe.
Okay. There's some good news about compliance checks, I believe.
Yes, our compliance checks were very, very successful last year. We want to thank law enforcement for doing such a great job with those. And we were actually able to lower the number of failures for compliance checks significantly last year. So that is wonderful. And we just want to let the county know that we're going to continue to be doing those. As well, we'll be offering responsible beverage server training for employers here in the community. So that is a great service to be able to offer Smith County.
And basically a compliance check is where someone from the Sheriff's Department goes in and they basically test if they ID someone, and they get someone that at least looks under 18 or something like that, right? That's
correct. They actually do have someone that is under the legal age to purchase alcohol. So when they go in and check those servers, they are making sure they are using someone that is under the age of 18 to see if that, or age of 21, excuse me, to make sure that that these businesses are not going to sell them alcohol. So our first round of checks, we actually had several failures, but the second round of checks that we conducted in September, we had only 3 failures, so that's wonderful.
Yeah, that is, and that's a good thing. We need to make sure that stays that way. And it is the age of 21. I said 18 earlier.
Yes.
Tobacco, do you have any initiatives going on that to help people maybe quit smoking if they would like to?
Well, we do have that. We're certainly getting ready to connect people with more smoking cessation classes, so we're excited about that. Also in 2014, one of our major accomplishments was to have a tobacco agreement signed between the law enforcement, Michael Collins, the new judge, the Youth Services Office, and the Smith County School Board to enforce the policy that was already in place, but we wanted to make sure that that was being enforced with our children. We had found that no tobacco citations had been written in quite a while, so we wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page in terms of that policy and the state policy. So in 2014, there were 2 tobacco citations issued, which is a low number, and we want it to stay low, but we do want to make sure that everybody's on the same page with regard to that policy in our schools and that that's being enforced effectively. So it was a huge accomplishment for that to be in place. So we're very proud of that.
Well, Kim, thank you, and thank you for all you do. And Miss Barbara Knappel and Suzanne, you guys are working hard over there, and we really appreciate what you do.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for having me on the show.
Okay, I guess we're still here at CrossFit, and Brian Ferguson has allowed us to come into his place and kind of take over, so we'll be back with more.
I would like to introduce you right now to my good friend, Wendy Drum. Welcome, Wendy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, Wendy is the County Council President of the Family and Community Education Clubs, and some of you may know them better as FCE clubs here in the county. In fact, Smith County has a fabulous program. We have been, I think the mayor said we had one of the best in the state, and that makes me feel really good. Wendy is just took over as president January 1.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
And she is the county council president, and we invited her here today to talk a little bit about the FCE clubs for those who might be interested, and about an upcoming event we're really excited about. So, Wendy, I'm just going to hand the mic to you, and you want to tell them a little bit, or I'll tell you what, let me ask you a few questions first. How many clubs do we have here in the county?
We have 8.
We do have 8, and we do. Let me also say that we do have a mailbox membership, and tell them a little bit about what FCE does.
FCE is a community volunteer organization. We also do education, and we also promote leadership. It's a very excellent leadership program that you learn how to be take charge of different groups. And we also do community volunteering. We are very involved with the Smith County Fair that we are the Family Science Consumers.
Family Consumer Sciences.
Family Consumer Sciences, right, FCS is called, the display at the Smith County Fair. And we take the quilt,
We do the crafts, the quilts, the canning, you name it, they do it all. And they're very, they're a wonderful service group, and they have done so much in the community. In fact, you are about, this group has almost 200 members here in the county, and we allow men, don't we, Wendy?
We certainly do. We encourage men to join. I have 2 men in my club, and I know there are other men in different clubs, but men, come on, you can. We can use you just as much as, and you can learn just as much, and have a lot of fun too. We all have a lot of fun, and we also help out in the community. We've done the community cleanup. We've also done the Jamie Evitts. We are involved with the Jamie Evitts fundraiser, and we also do. Like I was saying, education on different subjects, and it's open for, like our club, for instance, the guys decided that they were going to teach the women about changing oil and what to look for in tire pressure, and it was pretty interesting. They were all excited about that.
Well, there is something for everyone, and we will take any age group from 18 up, and we do have a number of clubs. They meet at different times. We want to encourage you to join. But one of the reasons why we have Wendy here today is that we have a very special event that is coming up for Valentine's Day, but it's also for a very good purpose. So, Wendy, tell them a little bit about the chocolate extravaganza.
All right, this will be the 3rd year, I believe, we're doing this. The chocolate extravaganza we have at the Chamber, and we have it from 9 to 1.
10 to 1, I believe.
10 to 1. Okay, 9 is set up. Okay, 10 to 1, and the proceeds go to the Relay for Life. That's our community project for the Relay for Life, and it's all kinds of chocolate, and it is on February 13th at the Chamber from 10 to 1, and it's really great. All kinds of chocolate. Everybody loves chocolate. So if you are wanting your chocolate fix that day, well, come on down.
That's the truth. Now, this is open to anyone that wants to come, and we encourage businesses. In fact, this has happened before where they have sent one person from a business and they buy all the chocolate that everybody can eat. You will come in, you will buy a container for $5, and you can fill it as full as you can fill it as long as you can close the lid. Now, we have to make Billy Woodard do that. I think he tried to get by without closing the lid one time. Yes. We're not going to let him do that anymore.
Not anymore.
But anyway, we do want to encourage you. Just kidding there, Billy. But we do want to encourage you to come out and help support the Cancer Society Relay for Life. And again, we want to give that date.
February 13th from 10 to 1 at the Chamber of Commerce in Smith County.
And by the way, we will sell as long as there's chocolate. I wouldn't suggest that you wait till 12:30 to come or quarter till 1. Sometimes we're sold out by then. So get there early. Get your chocolate for your sweetheart for Valentine's Day, okay? Wendy, thank you for coming to talk to us. And Wendy's going to be available for questions anytime. Just give her a call. What's your number, Wendy?
Is 677-6250. Give me a call anytime, and I'll be happy to answer anyone's questions that they have on the FCE clubs or anything that we are involved with.
All right. Thank you very much, Wendy. One of our special guests for today on the show is Miss Brenda Curtis, who is the manager of Historic Granville. Is that right, Brenda?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Brenda, tell us a little bit about what's going on in Granville. I'm just going to, what's the most fun thing? And I heard that y'all are having another play, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, tell them a little bit about it.
Well, February, we're gearing up for our Valentine Mayberry play in Granville. It is February 5th, 6th, 11th, 12th, and 13th, and you can call the store for more details on that. It's a dinner and a show. For $20 plus tax, you get a really big meal and a very funny play. It is a Mayberry theme, and it is for Valentine's, so it's lots of Ernest T. Bass, and one's on Aunt Bee. It's really fun. And also, in April, we also this month, we're doing a quilting class.
Now, is that in January?
Mm-hmm.
Or okay.
January 22nd, we're doing a beginner's quilting class. You can call the store for more details on that also. In March, we're gearing up for our theme for 2015 is the Roaring 20s in Granville. So the whole town's going to celebrate the 20s, and we start the homestead and everything opens back up in March with that theme.
Okay. Now, if they need to get in touch with you, I know that you also have shows on the weekends, right?
Every Saturday night we have a set and old time music hour, and a meal also with reservations on that, and that's every Saturday.
And who do they need to call?
They call the store. It's 931-653-4151.
Okay, let's repeat that one more time. If you want reservations to come down for any of the stuff, or you just want information on the days they're open, whatever, the number is
931-653-4151. Our business hours are Wednesday through Friday, 10 to 3, Saturdays, 10 to 8.
Okay, very good. If you haven't been to Granville lately, you need to go. They do something different all the time. And you said the theme for this year is?
The Roaring 20s.
Okay, and why did you all choose that? You were telling me earlier.
Well, that was the most prosperity time in Granville in 1920s. We did most of the river boats and stuff. As a matter of fact, in 1920s, the last steamboat came into Granville. So we have lots of history there to teach about things that happened in Granville.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Brenda, for sharing with us about Granville. And Granville is a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and we're so thankful to have you all on there. And we'll be back in just a moment.
We are here at CrossFit in Carthage, Tennessee, and Mr. Brian Ferguson has allowed us to come in here and do our January show. As you know, this morning it was about 9 degrees in Lancaster. I don't know about the rest of the world, but anyway, it was really cold there, and we're trying to give you an idea of what to do inside in January. Brian, first off, tell them who you are and how you landed here.
Okay, sure. So I'm Brian Ferguson. My wife and I moved to Smith County about 2 years ago from Nashville. We had been in Nashville about 7 years, and before that, we were originally from Texas. So we just wanted to buy some land in Pleasant Shade. Smith County is such a beautiful place. We decided this is where we wanted to come.
Okay, now you've opened up CrossFit here, and that is an exercise program. Tell us a little bit about the program and how it works.
Okay, so CrossFit is right now the fastest growing fitness industry in the world. CrossFit has over 11,000 affiliates worldwide with over 5 million people participating in CrossFit. And you may have seen things like the CrossFit Games on ESPN, which is the elite level of competition for the sports side of CrossFit. But what CrossFit's really about is CrossFit is about taking the average everyday individual and helping them reach their full potential in terms of health and wellness and fitness. So we approach that from a very well-rounded perspective.
Okay, what about age limit, age groups? Do you group them? How do you handle that?
No, CrossFit is designed as a community-oriented fitness program, so we keep all of the age groups together with the exception of children. And so currently we don't offer a children's program. That's actually something we're planning on bringing in, the CrossFit Kids program, probably this coming summer. But right now we do 16 and up, so by the time they're able to do athletics in high school, we can work with them in CrossFit. And our oldest member at this point is, I believe, pushing close to 70 years old, and so anywhere in between, and everybody works out together and does it as a community.
So it is a community type effort. Okay, now I know. Is this all you do, or do you have another vocation that you also handle?
Nope, this is it.
Okay, so this is you all the time. So you're here, and if they want to come, what's the contact information for CrossFit?
Easiest way to get a hold of me is just to give me a call. The website for CrossFit Carthage is www.mycrossfitcarthage.com, and my phone number is area code 615-719-0801.
Okay, 719-0801. Okay, well, is there anything else you'd like to, I know I see a lot of people here. When do you have your classes?
So class schedule is pretty straightforward. Monday through Friday, I have classes at 5:30 in the morning and 9 in the morning, and then again in the evening at 4:30, 5:30, and 6:30.
Okay, well, now we're going to try to do a little bit of outtake so that people can see what people are doing here when they exercise. But is there one particular exercise or form that you guys use more than other? What's the format that you use usually?
No, not really. Kind of the whole point of CrossFit is to make sure that people are well-rounded. So CrossFit is composed of powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting, as well as gymnastics and cardiovascular, and then mobility and flexibility work. And so it's kind of, there's not really one thing that we do. We do it all to make sure that people stay very well-rounded.
Okay, well, Brian, thank you very much for allowing us to come here. And if somebody wants to get in out of the cold and still stay in shape, this is the place to come, right?
We're here waiting on them.
All right, thank you.
Well, Bill, it's been a good day. You worked out hard.
Boy, I did. I tell you, I've walked around this floor at least once.
Let me see if those muscles are any bigger. Oh, boy.
But you know what? There are also other things you can do in Smith County during the cold weather. We've got the Wellness Center over there, Christy Grissom. She'll sign somebody up, and you can work out and tone yourself up. And I think it's a good place to go. Obviously, CrossFit here is a great place to go. So we've got a lot of opportunity for people to keep themselves in shape even during the cold weather in Smith County.
You know what? And I've got functional fitness that started in January also, January 12th, and we still take folks through March the 6th on that. So they can call the extension office at 735-2900 and get involved in functional fitness. So we got a lot of ways to get in shape. Do you feel tired?
Yeah, this is the end of the show, folks. Janie, could you help me get to the car?
Well, folks, I guess that's sayonara for today. We'll see you next month.